Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The Honorable Mr. Sabarianto Sanjivija, SPD, is Director of Student Course. The Honorable, all audiences in this meeting. First of all, let's offer adoration and praise to our God Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has Lord His grace upon all of us, so that today we may gather here to celebrate the English today. And I am Yasmin as a moderator who will organize the debate today. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, if we are keeping with the news, we will not be clueless about the recent controversy in Indonesia. The state capital or Ibu Kota Negara of Indonesia will officially move from the Jakarta to Istanbul langsung. This was marked by the approval of the IKN Bill into law by the DPR RI and the DPR RI Plenary acted of January 2022. President Joko Widodo has also set the name of the new nation's capital, namely Nusantara. Later, all central government activities will be transferred to the archipelago starting in 2024. However, the displacement of the IKN still raises proponents and opposition from various parties, starting from the selection of the location of the IKN to the ratification of the law, which was considered first. Therefore, the motion of today's debate is: does the transfer of the capital city of Indonesia be needed? And now, let us start our session today quickly. To the first speaker from the affirmative team, thank you, yours.
Okay, thank you for the moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are all familiar with the name of this Indonesian island. In fact, we currently live on it. We are stepping our toes in a small yet tame island to path our future and bring our land to the next generation. An island with approximately 120,000 square kilometers. An island with many great volcanoes. An island with rich culture and people, has significantly more population than 231 countries around the world. According to UK Immigration and Population experts, the population of Java Island is more than several countries in the world. Yes, this small island that is close to the equator line has surpassed 200 more countries in population. This island that is part of the Ring of Fire is bearing more than half of the world. So what's the deal? Surely it's not something to be worried about, right? Well, that's where it's not true. This issue, if not done properly, could lead to overwhelming effect, one of which is overpopulation. But before we continue, let me first introduce myself of colleagues that are wholeheartedly helping me on this occasion. The first member of my team, we have Mutiara. She will help me in defining the reason why the relocation of the capital city is critically needed. The person sitting next to her is Rizki. She will be assistant of nuclear power technology into new energy that is environmentally friendly. Ladies and gentlemen, why is relocation of the capital city needed? Well, there are many reasons that make it important. First of all, just like what I said earlier, that Java Island is at the brink of having a serious problem, namely overpopulation. In the island of Java, especially Jakarta, there are millions living in the area. Based on result of the 2020 population census of the Central Statistics Agency, there are 151.6 million people on the island of Java. That number is around 56.10% of Indonesian population. So what does this mean? Overpopulation alone can lead to even more serious problems. Just think about it. More people means more mouths to there will be an increased demand for food, water, housing, energy, healthcare, transportation, and more. And all that consumption contribute to ecological degradation, increased conflict, and a higher risk of large-scale disaster like pandemic. With that said, this issue can hopefully be avoided by moving the old capital city to the new location that is as Kalimantan. Why so? The problem with Indonesia in general is that the advancement and growth in Indonesia is not spread evenly. The major concentrated point of the large and significant economic as well as population growth is merely centered around Java. One of the factors is Jakarta, the current capital city of Indonesia. Is the central interest for the body of Indonesian government. According to the Central Statistics Agency atau BPS, 3 million citizens from all around Indonesia moved to DKI Jakarta in 2015 alone. Many citizens from all around the archipelago migrate to this island and try their luck at making a better life for their future. Thus, they contribute to the factors in increasing the growth of population in Java. By moving the capital city from Java, the center of attention of Indonesia will also move, thereby the economic growth and industrialization will be more evenly spread to the location. This also resolves the issue with overpopulation. People will have to move to the new capital to catch up with the advancement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the first speaker from the affirmative team. And now we will listen to the following arguments to be presented by the first speaker of the opposite team. The time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the 18th of January, the Indonesian government finally stepped forward and officially announced that East Kalimantan is going to be the new capital city of Indonesia. But first, let's imagine this. You are waking up in the morning, like coming from your window. It's still 6 a.m., but then you realize that you have been displaced to another working place, and your workplace is pretty far away from your home. So your heart is filled with this constant fear that you might be late for work. Then you are rushing and entering your car. You step on the gas and go quickly on the road. Now, while this depiction seems to be logical and seemingly harmless, if you think about it, it actually can cause us danger. All manner of things can happen when you rushing out, but most of them are not good. Rushing somewhere in your car can get you into an accident, or perhaps it could cause you to just forget about things that are essential and vital for your work. Rushing can cause you to do things half-assed, so that whatever it is you think you accomplish comes undone prematurely. This could also be applied to the moving of the capital city. But before I unfold to this nightmarish idea, it is my obligation to introduce my team to you. Please fix your eyes on the lady sitting over there. Her name is Nopiyatun. She will support me in explaining why you should not assent to this idea of moving the capital city. Next to her is Nisa Supriyanto. She will also help me of why things should not be that way. And there's myself. And we will do our best as we can to point out that the real questions of the new capital is not hidden. Ladies and gentlemen, so what can this hurt? From the depictions above, we know that rusting out is not something of a good idea. The legalization of displacement of Indonesia's capital city is considered to be too fast. According to some article, the planning and legalization of UU number 3 years 2022 about Ibu Kota Negara only took merely 42 days. If you look at the process of preparing academic papers and other planning, moving the capital city has a high risk of failure. This risk does not only arise from an environmental perspective, but also financial and others. From the perspective of an economy, relocating the capital city will cause an additional national inflation of at least 0.3% basis point. According to the TIC Finance, it is calculated that relocating the national capital from Jakarta to East Kalimantan will cost up to 466 trillion Indonesian dollar rupiah. If not planned properly, this can lead to serious national economic recessions. But hey, if we can get through that barrier, we can finally have equitable development, right? Well, not really. Indonesia doesn't need a capital city, but it needs new metropolitan city that spread through Indonesia. Do not mistake the metropolitan for its lifestyle only. No. Indonesia needs metropolitan cities in the sense of functioning zones that can work like Jakarta. Build metropolitan cities in Papua, Sulawesi, Kalimantan, and Sumatra, not just Java. Besides, the idea of having a new capital city in another location in order to spread the growth and development is groundless. It is all based on the assumption that Jakarta is the place for the rich and wealthy, thus making people to push their luck migrate to Java, in which it is not the case. There are other factors that contribute to the population growth in Java, such as the fact that Java is very strategic and fertile land, rendering the people to have many offspring. If we want to reduce our population, the government already has a two-child policy. The problem is that Indonesia needs to be educated on the policy. To put it consecutively, in the upcoming legalization of the new capital city, we might have nationwide recession due to unbanked planning that has a chance to lead into inflation. We do not need a new capital city. The only thing that we need is equitable development for all areas. Thank you.
Okay, thank you from the first speaker of the negative team. And now we listen the argument to be presented by the second speaker of affirmative team. That is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you know in Indonesia, the relocation of the capital city did not actually happen once? The first relocation was in Yogyakarta on 4 January 1946. At that time, Dutch were blocking the capital city during Jakarta Soekarno, the president of Indonesia at that time, had no choice but to make an emergency relocation of the capital city to Yogyakarta after Dutch finally acknowledged Indonesia's freedoms. Yogyakarta had benefited from the relocation of the emergency capital city. This goes to show that the transfer of the capital city to the new location, namely East Kalimantan, is not actually groundless or baseless of any arguments. Today, Yogyakarta has become one of the special cities in Indonesia. Before the relocation, Yogyakarta was on inflation. The Sultan was very helped by the relocation. The relocation of the Republic of Indonesia's capital from Jakarta to Yogyakarta caused the transfer of leaders, officials, and various Republicans to continue the resistance against the Dutch. It did not only bring more people to the island, but also helped to bring the people needed for development. On March 13, 1946, Gajah Mada University was opened in Yogyakarta. It made Yogyakarta as one of the centers of education and culture that has a big role and potential in contributing and developing Indonesian youngsters. Students who come to Yogyakarta from various region make this area a media and place of interaction that can give birth to a spirit of unity and oneness. This example does not just show that the moving of the capital city is not baseless, but also show that it can be advantageous for the people in Borneo. With that, it is safe to draw a conclusion that the relocation of capital city can be advantageous. The people in Kalimantan can benefit from the relocation. It will be beneficial for all the things in Kalimantan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the second speaker of Affirmative Club or Affirmative Team. And now we will listen the argument from the second speaker of Negative Team. That is yours.
Thank you for moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, the relocation of the capital city can endanger two types of economy and ecosystem. The capital city of Indonesia, Jakarta, has been subject to many recent natural disasters. The city has been experiencing flooding, landslide, and earthquakes. These natural disasters have put Jakarta at risk of being moved to a several location. But the relocation of the capital city of Indonesia can endanger the economy as well as the ecosystem. As my colleague said, the relocation can harm the economy. The relocation of the capital city of Indonesia can endanger the economy because it will be harder for Indonesia to attract investors and tourists from outside. The relocation will harden the potential in expanding the city's infrastructure. It will be harder to attract people in the long term because Kalimantan is out of reach from the central economic point. The relocation of the capital city of Indonesia cannot guarantee to boost the economy and provide the good standard of living for the people who live in Borneo. So for example, Yogyakarta. While it is true that Yogyakarta and the ex-capital city of Indonesia attains the special title to honor the past service, Jogja today is not much different than any other province in terms of economy and development. According to the Regional Information and Database System, the progress of economy development in Yogyakarta is at 5.82 in 2022. While this number is enough, it is not much different from the province of Kalimantan, with an average of 6.0. This data tells us that the relocation of the capital city might have no impact at all. Even worse, the relocation of the capital city can potentially endanger the ecosystem of Borneo. The relocation of the capital city is Indonesia from Jakarta to East Kalimantan can have a hard impact on the ecosystem in Borneo. This is because the capital city is located near the equator, which means that it has a tropical climate. The climate in Borneo is already very hot and humid, so the new capital's location could make it even hotter and more humid by the industrialization. This will have a major impact on the native flora and fauna in Borneo. If the relocation of the capital city goes through, it will cause global warming to increase by 0.1 degrees Celsius, which can have a detrimental effect on the native flora and fauna in Borneo. With that said, we can conclude that the relocation of the capital city will have a significant impact on ecosystem Borneo, while it will also add nothing beneficial to the economy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the second speaker of the second team. And now we will listen. The argument will be presented by the third speaker from the affirmative team. That is yours.
Okay, thanks for the time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, the population of the island of Java is 57% of the total in Indonesian residents. So then is the island of Java, especially Jakarta. Many agree in order to reduce the density of the city of Jakarta and reduce the number of accidents. But in Kalimantan, is far from being a metropolis like Jakarta. In terms of education, Kalimantan is too far from being an educated area. Alienation from their own countries make the border residents of Kalimantan depending on neighboring Malaysia. To meet their needs, they always rely on Malaysia because going to cities is very far and requires a lot of money. It is different if you just go to Malaysia by walking through the forest. Deviating from the principle of Pancasila, which is said to be justice for all Indonesian people, the goal of the state is for a good life or happiness. One of the elements is self-sufficient, which means that the need is fulfilled. But that is not the case for residents on the border of Kalimantan PDC. This country was people depend on neighboring countries. Several communities also agreed to move the capital city because the mother center of the new city is minimal in disaster encounters to the ocean. So with this statement, the border between Indonesia and Malaysia is precisely in Kun Tambawang Hamlet, isolated from his own country, far from happiness as a citizen of Indonesia. Meanwhile, regarding the potential harm of the environment, technology can bring about the solution to the most destructive energy, gas emission. By replacing the coal-based source, people can avoid climate change. In Kalimantan, there is a lot of potential to develop a renewable energy source. Take a look at the Netherlands. They have lots of available space to make many wind power plants. If Kalimantan can follow the Netherlands, perhaps climate change can be avoided. To summarize, in Kalimantan, the poor standard of living makes the local people dependent on neighboring Malaysia. Relocating the capital city not only solves this problem, but it also has the potential to develop a new renewable source of energy, avoiding the manage of climate change. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the speaker of the affirmative team. And next, we will listen the argument to be presented by the speaker of the negative team. Time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. therefore putting to support the direct supreme agency. The government should focus on improving people's welfare and national development. In its reality, as well as the for to cancel the relocation of the capital city law. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the short speaker from the legislative team. Okay, we have listened all the arguments from our team, right? And now we will listen the conclusion from the affirmative team. The first speaker, please come to the debate. That is yours.
Okay. In conclusion, relocating the capital city to a new location can have a great impact on our stability and potential advancement. If we move the center attention to a new location, we hopefully be able to keep location. We hopefully be able to keep clear of overpopulation and choose equitable development. We have the chance to kill not one but two birds with one stone at the same time.
Okay, thank you for the first speaker from the affirmative team. And now we will listen the conclusion from the first speaker of the negative team. That is yours.
In conclusion, the relocation of the capital city to the Kalimantan is a worse idea because the potential of harming the environment is more prominent than its ironically more climate-measured planned development and growth. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the first speaker from the negative team. And now, thanks to both teams, they have given their argument to all of us. And now, allow me as a moderator to present the conclusion of today's debate. From the affirmative team, relocating the capital city to a new location can have a great impact on our stability and potential advancement. If we move the center attention to a new location, we hopefully be able to keep clear of overpopulation and fix equitable development. We have the chance to kill not one but two birds with one stone at the same time. Okay, and the conclusion from the negative thing is the relocation of the capital city to Kalimantan is the worst idea because the potential of harming the environment is more prominent than it is ironically planned major development and growth. Okay? Thanks. And end this debate with Masyana that the transfer of the capital city of Indonesia to Indonesia has ended. Thank you for your attention and best wishes for all of us. Thanks. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.